All right, so today I begin my backpacking journey of the Paria Canyon. I'm going to be backpacking for the next probably three or so days, Friday morning till Monday, most likely. I may come back Sunday if I get bored, I guess, or if I feel like I've already discovered everything. But it's going to be an awesome trip, checking out these slot canyons, some of the coolest, I'm going to say, in the country, maybe even in the world, some of the longest, narrowest slot canyons you can find, which should be really sick. I've got a pretty hefty backpack here because I've been trying to prepare a lot, bring everything I need, a lot of water because the first spring isn't for 12 miles, so got to be extra prepared out here. You know, you don't want to run out of water, that's number one, and just a lot of other things. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, the canyon starts relatively wide and slowly narrows as you keep going. Bo will run and sprint ahead to a shady spot like this. I'll march ahead and then he'll sprint ahead again to another shady spot. It's a pretty smart technique, actually. So this is what the beginning of it is like. Relatively broad compared to how narrow it's gonna get. It's already getting really pretty with these canyons. See, there he goes again. So I believe it's about 2.7 miles until it starts to narrow more. Although this already seems pretty narrow to me right up here. So maybe it goes in and out for a while until it stays more permanently narrow. We'll see. So that trail was a dead end. Just went into the canyon and stopped. So fortunately I bought my handy little map, which should hopefully help me, because there's all these little day hikes out here and all these off trails, so it's really hard to see where the trail is, but hopefully this will help and we won't get lost, and it won't take us forever to move around out here. All right, so I figured out what the problem was. The problem was I was not in the river. This is a river hike. I mean, the river is dry. And I looked at the map and I figured out the trailhead. There's all these offshoots, but you gotta get to the river. So I have not made it to the river. It's a lot wider. So this is definitely it. Here's the river. You can see it's all dried up. But I'll just be following this for 7 miles to my campsite tonight. All right, I think I've gone about 2 miles, and just check out these gorgeous canyon walls. Just different red in the colors, and already so tall. These little rock formations on the side. There's Bo. It's already been incredible. I ran into some people from Montana, and they were telling me all about it. They were out here for 6 nights and really pretty excited now. Taking our first break, found a little crevice where Bo and I came up and had some water and a little snack, and a little cool area. All right, so the canyon's really starting to narrow. I believe I'm about 4 miles in, and this is the beginning of the Paria Narrows. Hey, Bo. Backpack is starting to get pretty heavy. It's probably like 50 pounds, I don't know. But fortunately, it's not terribly hot out here, and there's intermittent shade within the narrows in the canyon. There's just so much I'd want to take pictures of and video, but I can't do it all. It's just awesome. After every turn, it's just more gorgeous. Camera really doesn't do it justice. Let's go, Bo. How you doing? You're doing really good. I should have given you some more weight. I'm carrying all the load over here. It's pretty incredible how the canyon walls has all these holes in them like this, and it's so odd how they form like that. I wonder how the water does that. It's so interesting looking. It almost doesn't look like it's natural, but something about the water hitting it at a certain angle and around a bend and then just keeps going. Lunch, some wild sardines from Wild Planet. Check out this giant boulder. Wow. Look, you can tell that this right here is normally a spring because we've got vegetation, and you can see that trickling line all the way down. But obviously there's no water. All right, so the ground is finally starting to get just a tiny bit muddy, and Bo found a tiny little pool of water here. Of course, he's a water dog. He finds water everywhere. And we are still moving along with these enormous cliffs. Bo found more water. All right, check it out. I made it to the Confluence, 7 miles, and it's where the Buckskin Gulch and Paria Canyons converge. There's the Paria Canyon from the Whitehouse trail that I came down. And then right here, this is Buckskin Gulch. And the canyon continues as they converge. I met a guy earlier on the trail telling me there was a beautiful campsite just about 200 yards down Buckskin Gulch. So I'm gonna see if that's available. Check out the walls of these canyons here. That must be, I don't know, 150 feet high. I don't know, it is massive. All right, there's a trail that goes up right there. So I'm guessing that's gotta be the campsite. All right, check this out. I have laid claim to my spot. Look at the views from right here where I'm gonna be setting up my tent. Just both sides, just gorgeous. And it feels great. It's a little hot, but look, the sun is only gonna be over this canyon for not that long. I mean, it's pretty narrow, so it'll definitely cool off once the sun goes down, and this should be a really good spot. The people that camped here last night, I'm very glad I ran into them. They said, that it wasn't cold at all. They actually wished they had a little wind. And the other people said it was extremely windy where they camped. So this must be very protected, and I will not get cold here. Hopefully I don't get too hot either, but looks beautiful. All right, so camp is set up. I've got my clothes kind of drying over there, and I got here pretty early. And I've just been laying around because I am just beat from this heat and just carrying that pack. My whole body's sore. Very glad I brought some aspirin at the last second. I just took some, and that should help. So I'm gonna go see if I can find a little bit of water. I only went through really just the Camelback, and that was it. That's about 3 liters. I brought 6.5 liters. They recommended 6 to 8 liters per person, which is a ton. I guess technically I didn't do a full day of hiking or backpacking, but plenty of water. I've still got almost 3.5 liters left, but I'm just gonna go ahead and fill up my other water reservoir, so I'll just have plenty. All right, so slept pretty well last night. Hung out with some pretty cool guys that I met from Salt Lake City. They camped right next to me, and just hung out with them for a few hours this morning and last night. So it's pretty cool. They told me a lot about stuff to do in Utah, and they were also accountants, so doing some adventurous stuff. So it's pretty cool. So today I am hiking up Buckskin. Oh, all this cow poop or horse poop everywhere. Bo is loving it this morning. This is Buckskin Gulch, has some of the longest and coolest slot canyons in the world, and narrowest too. They say this is better than Zion, the Narrows in Zion. So it's already getting really cool. Check this out. It's just so narrow and all the wild walls look so neat. Get him! Come on, let's go. He's gone. Where'd he go? All right, so we've come to a bit of an impasse. There's some rock scrambling right here, and nothing bad, but unfortunately, just nothing that I can get Bo up. There's an option to tie him to a rope and pull him up, but it just looks a little too sketchy and difficult. So I think we were gonna head back. We're only a mile and a half down Buckskin, but it's gonna be like this pretty much the whole way. I mean, it's awesome. I don't want to leave Bo here. It just goes in and out where it will get really narrow in some areas and open back up again. Just repeat the same thing. Hey, Bo. It's hard to capture how tall these walls are. Go boy. Go boy, let's go. Downstream from the confluence of Buckskin Gulch and the Paria River continues, and it's some broader canyon than Buckskin Gulch, but really just as beautiful, and you can see a lot farther in a lot of areas. It's massive cave looking. Some really neat slots right here. Check this out. Pictures and videos just do not do it justice. All right, I made it to the big spring, the first spring I've seen, and I've already collected water just straight out of the river, but pretty cool to make it down all the way down here, about 5-6 miles from my campsite. You can see spring coming down there, and really all around there's another area down here too. All this vegetation going along. And it's just very majestic. The past 4 or 5 miles, everything is different than Buckskin. It's just so much more open, and you really get a sense of the how big everything is and the grandness of it. Check out those rocks, tall, skinny rocks in there. It almost looks like somebody took a knife and just sliced several times into them. You can see the river kind of goes up here and curves to the right back there, but there's a abandoned meander that goes back here around the huge rock face that might fill up if there's flash floods, but currently there's no water back there. Just so epic looking out here. There's Bo to give you a sense of scale of how massive this stuff is. So after spending Saturday exploring the canyon, I decided to hike back out on Sunday at Whitehouse Trail, the same 7-mile trail that I came in on. I was able to explore both Buckskin Gulch and down the Paria River Canyon because I was only able to go up Buckskin Gulch about 1.5 miles and then down the Paria River about 5 miles round trip. So I hiked about 13 miles on Saturday. So since I had seen about everything I had to see, I went back out on Sunday. So after about a 3 or 4 hour hike, I decided to stay in a hotel that night in Kanab. Been pretty nonstop since the beginning of my trip and very eventful, so definitely wanted to chill out, get some rest for a day or two. Treated myself to a really nice bison steak that night at this really good restaurant called the Rocking V Cafe in Kanab. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for a good meal in Kanab.
Hi guys, how are you?
Also had the chocolate mousse for dessert, and it was the perfect finishing touch to the bison steak.